How's it going, guys? And welcome back to Total Oz Spurs. Finally back after night shift. Fucking what a shit week. Ready to talk about some Spurs. Nana, how are you, bro?
Good, brother. How are you?
Oh yeah, could be better. I won't get into my thoughts on the weekend because you boys covered it. Sorry, midweek because you boys covered it yesterday. But Newcastle, 2 days. How you feeling?
After the Man U game, it's hard to get hype up for the next game, right? Like after you just utterly and totally dominated the way we were, especially against a team that just drew 0-0 to Man U, right?
Yeah, at Man
So
U.
at Man U. So like technically speaking, if we go to Man U and lose, they go to Man U and draw. Technically, they should beat us, essentially, right?
Yeah, that letter of the law says that we should
Yeah,
lose.
essentially. But I don't. It's hard to get hype, but I don't really see us losing against them. They have like 5 or 6 players out at the moment.
Yeah, I think Callum
Um,
Wilson's been announced to be injured as well, which is their main striker. And
yeah,
Isak's out too, that they spent
yeah,
like £70 million on. So
yeah.
just looking at the stats for them against United. So they had 37% possession. They only had 9 shots, but they only made 2 saves. And they kept United down to 15 shots with 2 on target. So they did a hell of a lot better than we did when
So
we set
literally
up.
half the shots that we had. I mean,
Yep, and
15 shots in 90 minutes is still a fair amount of shots, though.
yeah, but
So they were
compared
getting
to
into the
us,
position.
yeah, but when they also had 9 shots on, like,
Yeah,
so
true.
they were only 6 shots less, and they had nearly less than 30% less
Yeah,
possession. So it's for me it's I know that they're not scared. I've seen some Instagram posts, Twitter posts from the players themselves, and some of the players and pundits have all said that they reckon Newcastle can pull a result, and I think the way we're playing at the moment, they're not wrong. I think we're fairly lucky against Everton for them being so poor, and us dominating defensively and not scoring that much. And then United, that was, I don't know if anybody watched the live, but I was fucking losing my shit. It's the first time that I could actually lose it because it wasn't so late. It was early in the morning. No one was home. Everyone was at work, so I could lose my shit. And it was, I'm worried, to be honest.
you are.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a draw. I mean, I'm not worried in the sense where I think we're going to get stomped, but it's more of a. Brad alluded it to yesterday. If we lose or even draw this game, all that undefeated, all undefeated games we went, and the pressure or the distance we made between the teams in fourth and below, it's pretty much null and void now.
Yeah.
I know that even if United and Chelsea win their games in hand, they're still below us. But they play each other this weekend, and I'm hoping for a draw there just to give us
Yeah, that's what I
a
was saying when
fucking
we did the review.
a barrier.
It's
But I think Chelsea are going to win that. I think they're going to tear up. Depending on where it is, I think it's at Stamford Bridge. If it's at
yeah, it's
Stamford Bridge, then
Stamford Bridge.
Chelsea are
Yeah,
going to tear them apart.
yeah.
Especially with the whole Ronaldo thing. Before we carry on with the Newcastle outlook, what do you think about the whole Ronaldo thing?
I don't understand why he wouldn't. Like his whole thing is he wants to play, right? It's the whole idea. So, like, what's his reasoning behind not wanting to be subbed on?
Yeah, I think it's the way he's gone about it is disgraceful, to be honest. I think he did
It's
the same thing against midweek as well. Ten Hag alluded that a few players didn't want to come on as subs, and now I can understand because they got a Prem game in the weekend versus us, and it was a big game. But wouldn't like if I was a player and he wants to come on and the team's playing well and it's 1-0 up and you can go, all right, I can go in there and I can score a goal the way our team's playing. I'm going to score. Like Ronaldo would have scored if he came on.
100%.
And like for me, it would be like I'm gonna bang in a goal and then show that I can change, like I can close a game out. But it's weird that he
I,
turned
I
it
just
down.
think it's poor form for someone who's like. I look at him in that Man United team, and he's like the spiritual leader, right? Like he's
Yeah,
like he's some people's goats, not mine, but he's like one of the goats of all time. Like to him to storm off down the tunnel, and apparently he was half out of Old Trafford by the time the full time went. Like, that's disgusting. So why would the players turn around and be like, I really want to play with this guy now when he doesn't have any he doesn't back the manager.
And
I
that's where,
just think from someone who's 38, 37, it's really, really immature. Like, it's poor form.
Yeah, and I'm going to say it. All those people, I've seen it. I know it's not. It's more Ronaldo fans than United fans. United fans are all in unison. They think it's disgusting, but these Ronaldo fans who try and justify because he's one of the best players ever to play the game, that doesn't justify being an immature little brat walking off because for starters you didn't start. Then the manager calls upon you to help the team and you refuse it. Then you storm off before the game ends and you're out the fucking ground before the game even finishes. Like, that's disgusting. It shows no professionalism. It literally taints his legacy at United for one.
He's just making himself look bad.
And if he wants to move in January, what team's going to take him? What team's going to want to take a player that storms off because he's not fitting the bill? It's, that's why I look at players like Davies, for instance, when he was always on the bench when Vertonghen and Alderweireld, he could have stormed off. He could have been. He could have done all the shit. Obviously, he's not Ronaldo. He's never going to meet the heights of Ronaldo. But there's players that sit on the bench week in, week out, and as soon as they come on, they do everything they can to try and show that they can stay on the pitch, and that's what he should be doing to Ten Hag.
The main person I could think about that for us is Lamella.
Yeah,
like he rarely started when he was with us, but when he came on, he fucking worked his dick off. So why, if you're Ronaldo, would you not just be like, okay, this guy obviously doesn't believe in me and doesn't believe in the fact that I can change this setup. Why not come in, even if it's 5 minutes to go, and be like, I'm still here to play. I'm still, because there's no, in all honesty, unless they absolutely shit the bed, I don't see Ronaldo ever playing another game for Man United.
I don't think he should. I think Ten Hag could just kick him off the team. But
he's training with the under-21s now.
You know what people have been saying though? Oh, look at professional. He's in early training with the under-21s. No, he's not in early training with the under-21s. He's banished from the first team. He's a fucking prima donna.
To be completely fair, though, I was thinking about it and I was like, that's actually a big up for the under-21s. Like, that'd actually be a... Like, if I was in under-21s and I had Ronaldo at training, like, especially if I was a striker or a winger, I'd be studying him and looking at everything he does. So maybe a big up to under-21s. So...
Well, that could be a master stroke. Ten Hag's gone, you know what? If you don't fucking like it, go to under-21s. And the thing is, if I'm an under-21 and I've got Ronaldo next to me, I'm fucking absorbing every little bit of knowledge that he can give me. I'm
watching every single thing that cunt does.
Yeah.
And just, why does he do that? How does he do that? And I've just asking him questions. And so maybe it's a good thing for him, but it still is a very bad look for Ronaldo.
Yeah, I mean, he's not won any fans of that. But we'll move on for Ronaldo because it isn't a fucking United channel. But what I want to see, for us, it will be probably tomorrow for English supporters, but for us and Oz, it's a day and a bit because we get it Monday morning. But I know we're going to be playing two up front again because Kulu has been announced that he's not going to be back before the World Cup starts. So
super bad news.
And you know what? It's crazy because Kulu was the one getting dropped to accommodate Richarlison. And now that we don't have Kulu, we see how much he actually did for the team. He wasn't scoring, but the creativity, the pressure, it was he was doing so much.
Even when he was getting dropped for Richie, we're like, why the fuck is he getting dropped for Richie?
Yeah.
Why was Son not getting dropped for Richie? Like, it's fucking strange, but it's actually insane how much we miss a player who probably he's not a standout player. Like, he's not. You watch him play, you just go, oh yeah, he's just pretty average. Just his work rate and what he does to the team is actually fucking insane.
I think it's just his creative spark and the fact that he carries the ball very well.
Yeah.
To me, he looks like a mix between like Eriksen and Dembele. He's got the shot and the pass of Eriksen, but the dribbling and the strength of Dembele, where he can carry the ball from the right and push players off and then whip it in.
Yep.
And see, I've been thinking about this, and I thought about it last night. Listening to you guys on the review, and then just listening to about creativity and lots of stuff. Like, for me, do you think that he dropped? Like, this is going into mind games of Conte, because I feel like Conte's playing some mind games, trying to get his way in with Levy. And Do you think he dropped Kulu to show that he didn't want Richarlison for 60 mil? That 60 mil was wasted on Richarlison, and he was going to go, this guy isn't good enough. I'm going to drop Kulu, who's playing the best out of the front three, just to prove that without him there. And it backfired because we kept winning games. We kept grinding games out.
It's really hard to say what goes on in the mind of Conte, right? Like it's hard to put. It's hard to put yourself in his situation and be like, I'm just doing him to fuck Levy over. Like I don't see him as that sort of coach to start to play those mind games. But
I think he just quit if he doesn't like it.
Yeah, 100%. Like he's done with other clubs. But then you look at it and you go, well, what was Kulu doing wrong to get dropped for Richie? And it logically doesn't make any sense. Same reason why. I mean, he has offered a little bit of explanation as to why Doherty wasn't starting and Spence wasn't starting over Royal, but it's the same kind of thing, right? Like, what is Royal done? Like, because is Royal back this week, or is it still out? No, I'm pretty sure he's back this week.
He's back this week. If he starts, I'm gonna neck myself. That's it.
Like, the only saving grace is Doherty didn't play fucking amazing against United, but then neither did anybody else. So you can't really hang it on. Doherty.
I think he's off one more game because it's 3 Prem games. He got the red card against Arsenal. We played Everton. We played Man U. We haven't played. Oh no, we played Brighton, didn't we?
One.
Yeah. We played 3. He's back this week.
Yeah, he is back this week. 1, 2, 3.
He'll play because of how Doherty played against United. But the thing is, no one played well against United, so I can't think that's a.
Well, that's the thing, right?
I don't think that's a game to.
If he does start Royal, it's gonna be a big what the fuck from not only the fans, but it's got to be from the back room and be like, what is going on? How? Not that we don't trust Conte, because we believe in Conte and I believe in him wholeheartedly, but what's his thought process behind someone who can't defend and can't attack? I don't understand what it's literally like playing with 10 players out there.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's one of those things. He's never going to come out and say he's doing it for a certain reason. He's just going to say, "Oh, he's playing well in training. This is my decision. I'm the coach." So, I mean, I admire that in a way. A coach doesn't reveal his secrets, but then sometimes you sit there and think, "Well, we need to know more because what you're giving us isn't enough. It's not enough to justify why you're playing him." I expect to see Cess play over Perisic. Perisic looked very defensively naive against Anthony. Anthony actually tore him apart. There's a few, and what annoyed me was Perisic kept letting him come in on his left when he's pretty much like Ian Robin. He literally just comes. He's literally
that's all he's got in his game, right? Yeah, I think
that's all he has.
I think Tony is being upped by a lot of Man U fans right now, but I just want to come out and say every time I've seen him play, he's very one-dimensional. He runs down the wing, cuts inside like I used to on FIFA fucking 11, and finesse shot it into the top left-hand corner. Like that's all I see from him every single time. I don't see him running to the byline and then hooking a cross in. Like he's only got a left foot. And when teams work that out, which I don't know how they fucking haven't already, because I can literally see it. Like until people work it out, just give him all the space in the wing because he can't cross it in. He's just very one-dimensional, and he's a very. It's not gonna take long to figure him out, I don't think.
We'll have to wait and see. But with Newcastle, we're gonna have to watch Trippier with his balls into the box. I'm pretty
100%.
sure Wood's gonna be starting because Wilson was injured, and Wood's always is really good in the air. Apart from that, it's more Bruno and Joe Linton in that middle. They're workhorses. They're not the technically most gifted.
Joel Linton's still injured.
Oh, is he injured?
I have an injury list, so they're up now.
Oh, okay.
The big ones, Isaac, St. Maximin, Joel Linton, Matt Ritchie. Those are the ones that we see.
Okay, so their midfield's going to be.
Joel Linton's 25% chance to play, same as St. Maximin, but 25%.
Oh, they're not playing then. They're not playing. I wouldn't risk it. If I was Eddie Howe, I wouldn't risk it.
Yeah.
Especially playing away, I just play ultra defensive. So. Yeah. I mean, they've got a decent team. They're playing fairly well, Newcastle this year. They're the best defense in the league, so that says a lot. And
I can't wait to score a goal.
Botman was someone that we were linked with in January last year when Conte first came in, and he would have been a good left-sided centre back because he's playing fairly well. So their midfield will probably be Gamarege and Longstaff, which I think that's what. And they play Joe Linton in the middle against United, but they'll probably probably chuck on Joe Willock, who's a bit more attacking. I think for us, it's a must win. I'm not confident with the way we're playing, but then we've ground out results, and when we played good teams, that's when we've showed that we don't have that creative quality. I think that's what we're lacking is the. I feel like we absorb so much pressure, but when you're absorbing heaps of pressure from good teams, they're eventually going to break us, right?
100%, right? 100%.
You can do that against the bottom 15 teams, but when you hit the top 6, Arsenal, United, they've got the quality of player to finish us off, and that's why they're classed as a top 6 team.
Yeah, 100%.
I think looking at like Newcastle's team now, like they don't have. We should be putting them away, but they did really, really well against United. So it's kind of like I don't know whether the defense is going to hold.
I totally believe in an old adage, and it goes: you can have a superstar team, but doesn't mean it's good. Like a team of superstars doesn't mean it's going to be a superstar team.
Yeah,
I feel like right now, Newcastle, they don't have an outstanding superstar, so they're just gelling very well, right?
Oh, yeah, Eddie Howe's got them playing so well. They all know their role.
They're just a good team that know their role, and they're playing how Eddie Howe wants them to play. So it just looks like they've got a standard 4-3-3 playing, and it seems to be working for them. And good on them. I don't mind Newcastle. I really like Newcastle as a team. And
yeah, well, they're one of the traditional big teams. Alan Shearer, and they're the big team from the north, really. And it sucks because there's a few players in there that I would have loved. I said about 5 or 6 years ago when we were looking for a backup for Kane, when we had Yats and then fucking Soldado. I said Callum Wilson would have been a nice backup. He was prem proven. Was at Bournemouth at the time. Was playing really, really well. And I don't know why we let Trippier go to Newcastle. 12 mil for Trippier. I would have snatched that now, especially playing in that role where he's going up and down the wing and putting balls in and playing more attacking. He would have been perfect. For that role. Apart from that, though, I feel like on the left-hand side, I'd play Spence on the right wing, purely because they got Dan Burn. Very big, very solid, but he's not quick. He's fucking slow. So for me, and Trippier's getting on a bit. He's a good defender, but he's not slow, but he's not quick. So we really need to utilise, because balls in the air isn't going to be an option. Burns, 6'4". Shah's tall, Botman's tall. We're not going to be able to attack them in the air. We need to play on the feet, playing short. I would even consider. I don't know if I'd go for a 4-2-3, a 5-2-3, because I don't think we have. Like, you'd play more up front. That's it. You'd play more Kane and Son, but then who do you bring off? You'd have to transition into the 5-3-2.
Yeah.
Do you think we should start with the 5-2-3? Considering that they're a taller team, they're a bit better defensively. We need to break them down. Do you feel like we need to put more up the pitch, or do you feel like we need to draw them in then counter?
Nah, yeah, exactly what you just said. Definitely the latter. I was just thinking about Trippier bombing on, and then bombs on, quick counter attack, Son on that left. Like I feel like that's where we're going to score, right?
Yeah.
So I'd be starting with a midfield 3.
Who would you start? I honestly would give one of Bentancur, Højbjerg a rest. I feel like the reason why they played so poor against United, one, because it was a better midfield they were playing against, but two, they were fucked. They played every game. They played every game.
How often do we say this, that these players need a rest, and then this is exactly the same fucking squad every week? I honestly don't see why. I would probably keep Højbjerg instead of Bentancur. Nothing against Bentancur, love him as a player, but Højbjerg just looks like he's got more of that engine in him, and so he might be able to play more games throughout the year. Where's our boy Skippy? Why put Skippy on that right centre mid role? I think he'll fucking excel.
He's got the energy, and he'll press all game. He'll run all game.
Exactly. And
he does have a passing range. He does have a passing range.
I totally agree. He might be a little bit more defensive than Bentancur, but fuck.
Yeah, I watched him at Norwich, and I know it's a championship, but he was the pivotal midfielder. He would transition from defence to attack. He'd get that ball, and he would instantly put the ball, look forward, and he was doing that for us last year before he got injured. He was that midfield player. He was our best player before he got injured last year. Yeah, he was getting that ball.
He could be our deep lying playmaker that we need.
He could, and he could just leave it to to Bentancur or Højbjerg to defend, and he just transitions.
100%. Like there's like if you literally have like Holberg, you can't fault him. He's already got a 6-goal and assists like already this year. That's fucking fantastic for someone who's literally playing a center defensive.
In a 2 as well. He's been playing majority in a 2.
in a 2 mostly. So you can't fault him. But I was about to go on a tangent about how good Skippy could be. But like, just say Skippy comes in, plays his dick off this game. Who would you remove from that 3 if we were to play a 3? Would you?
I just rotate it. I would just rotate.
If Skippy comes out and gets 4 assists against Newcastle, you can't drop him the next game. So who are you leaving out next game?
Well, if you're going to bring him in for one of Bentancur or Højbjerg or even Basuma,
that's what I mean. Yeah, out of those 3, like
I just rotate it. So if you and the thing is like. For that midfield, they're going to know each role. They're going to have to know each role because it's such a. When they're playing in the 2, they're going to have to do both things. So when they're playing in a 3, you just go, all right, Højbjerg, today you're going to be the defensive midfielder, and we'll transition the other 2 into box to box. But you're going to have some consistency as well. So it's kind of like you don't want to keep rotating them because then you don't get a consistent run of games in that role. So it's kind of like who we're playing defensive and who we're playing attacking. For me, I think Skippy can play that box to box. And I think Højbjerg, so him and Højbjerg will be on rotation, and then Bentancur and Basuma will have to just rotate. Because when you watch the game, Bentancur and Basuma were both kind of sitting back against United, and Højbjerg was kind of sitting in that cam role. And he has proven that he's a lot better going forward, like in terms of getting into the box, getting into those positions than Bentancur. So I feel like for them, Skip has to replace either Bentancur or Basuma because he's more of a transition, not get into the box. But last year when he was playing, he was screaming into the box multiple times. Like I remember him running in, I'm thinking, what the fuck? Skip's not an attacking midfielder, but he's getting into the box. So he's not afraid to get forward. So he probably can switch with Højbjerg as well.
I totally agree. If it was for me, right, I'd probably be the way Basuma played, I'd be leaving Basuma out. To be completely fair.
Unfortunately, I am a big Basuma fan, but I don't think he played very well. But I also don't think that Højbjerg and Bentancur played very well either. No, I think they let him down because he got overrun playing in that CDM role.
When Richie gets injured and we need someone to step up into that CDM role and have the other 2 bomb forward, you need to show what you're worth, right? I don't think he showed what he was worth. He definitely did have a shot. Nobody had a good game, right? But everyone, like, I just felt like he had a shocker more than everyone. His first touch was a trampoline. So there's no reason why. If it was me, and going back to your question, that was a long tangent. I'd be starting 3 in that midfield: Højbjerg, Bentancur, and Skip. That would be my midfield 3.
I mean, I wouldn't be upset at that. I really rate Skip. I think that Skip can be a great CDM. I just think that injury came at the wrong time. If he didn't get injured last year, he would probably we wouldn't even probably have gone for Basuma because of the way he was playing.
100%.
But then it's weird because Basuma was always looked at as a transition midfielder like Bentancur, where he was always joining the attack. He scored a banger against us, I think, a couple of years ago. So him being asked to play that CDM role, and that's why Conte doesn't play him in the 2 because he's. But the thing is, like, he has a lot of good one-on-one results. He always kind of wins his one-on-one battles, and he intercepts a lot. And the only good thing I can say about Basuma is that he's quick to look forward and get the ball out. That also can be bad because he looks to rush it. But for me, everyone has been ragging on him, and it's justified. I do think he had a poor game, but I do think that he had a poor game because the other two had a poor 100%. Game, and it made him look worse because he was the last line of defense before the defense. And he was just getting overrun. Casemiro, God player. Fred's very athletic. They had Bruno Fernandes finally showed up. Anthony was always cutting in against Perisic because Perisic did jack shit. The thing is, and everyone could say it, Doherty didn't have a good game, right? But where was Sancho? I didn't see Sancho the whole game.
No, yeah, exactly.
And Doherty kept him quiet. And he didn't do well going forward. But what can you do when you're sitting back the whole time as a wingback?
Well, what
are you meant to do? You can't. Like, his role is to go forward first and then defend because of the way we play. Arrow has to be spoken about. I would actually drop him for this game. I think he needs a rest. Yeah. 2, I don't know what Conte's doing pushing him so far forward because that we're getting caught out so many times. He had a really bad game, and I'm not saying drop him because of one bad game. I just think that Sanchez was playing well when he was injured, and he got dropped straight away to the bench.
Yep.
If you're going to do that, then I think Romero needs to be woken up a little bit. Dyer, he didn't play very well, but he's still got to start. Dyer's going to be the mainstay in the middle. The only other player that can play that is Longley. And then on the left, Longley will play over Davies. I think Longley should be rotated in because I think we have Champions League midweek against Lisbon at home. Actually, no, I'll probably play Longley against that because he's a bit more athletic than Davies, and they're a bit more technical, Lisbon.
Yeah. And Longley just did come from Spain, which is a very more technical.
Yeah,
they play kind of the same at Portugal and Spain.
So, what we thinking?
We thinking? Just back to that a little bit. I'm not a massive fan of playing 3 centre backs and then a centre defensive mid. Like even from the get go, that's very, very defensive, right?
That's how Conte plays. That he absorbs and encounters, but we don't have the wing backs to counter. So for me, you're right. Like, okay, yeah, fucking play Kulu, Son, Richie, and fucking Kane. And just have him like rotate, but like have Kane up front as the fucking the pivot at the top, because you want Kane to play forward, and he's come out and said play Kane. We want Kane up the top of the pitch. Then you just tell Son, Richie, and Kulu free roam between the third just behind the 18-yard box. That space between there and midfield, those three just rotate, come short, 1-2 passes in. I think that could work.
I personally, if everyone's fit and healthy, I would love, and he's never going to do it because he's always been a 5 at the back player, but 5 at the back coach. But I'd like to see a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel, and just have those 3 center attackings with Son, Richie, and Kulu just drop back into, especially Son and Kulu drop back into the wider areas to help our left and right backs back, and then just have either Romero, Dyer, or Sanchez, and because then you can play 2 center defensive mids who can just drop into the back line as well.
Yeah, I just don't think we have the left back for it. I don't think Perisic is good enough, and Sessegnon isn't that much better than Perisic. I think that's the only reason why. But Quanta doesn't play 4 at the back anyway. But I said that at the start of the year. I think that could work for us.
I really think it could work. The only thing that would be against that is then, if we're losing, who's going to change the game for us, right? Mora, Hill, like they're not going to come on.
Oh, you just switch to a 5 and then push the wing backs bombing on, or you just say 3 at the back and then
just like we're calling for like the game changer, and that's what Son did when he came on against Leicester, right? I just feel, and the reason why I bring up that formation change to 4 at the back, it's just very defensive at all times, and there's a lot of people saying we look shit and we're not playing pretty right now, and it's shit to watch. And a lot of even Tottenham fans are coming out and saying, yeah, we're winning, but this isn't attractive football. This isn't the football that Tottenham should be playing. But results matters, right? Like results honestly matter. But right now we're not playing the formation to get the results. It seems like every single fucking win is a grind. Even that Leicester win where we won 6-2 was a grind.
Yeah, well, that's the big thing that I think needs to be questioned now. How long do you persevere with a formation that's not attractive and very defensive? So, like, look, the main reason for football for starting was entertainment, right? Entertainment is the initial start of all sport. You do it because it's fun to watch, 100%. Fun to play, whatever. When it starts to become boring to watch, you can deal with it when you're winning, but when you're losing or you're playing bad. Like even now, we were winning games, but we were playing very bad. And a lot of people are coming out saying, yeah, we're winning, but I still don't like the way we're playing. It's not attractive. Now, I think you can still be defensive.
And play good footy.
And play good football. And there's one team that everyone says is very defensive, and they had a big controversy against Man City last year when Foden got taken out, and it was all about because City were doing the same tactics as Atletico, and they got the shit. So Atletico Madrid, they're the ultimate in defense, but they've won leagues with that defense. But if you look at the team, the technical players they got in that team, they had Koke, they had Suarez, they got Griezmann, they got Lamar. Like they've got all these technical players, and they still play very defensive, and they can still transition into that attack. Whereas for us, like I'm going to say it, like you're right. The call for Madison, we should have got him when he was there. Like, we're probably going to go for him in January. The thing is what's stopping another top team going, yeah, we want Madison, we're going to go get him? Like, what's stopping, I wouldn't say United or Chelsea, but
What's stopping Newcastle?
Newcastle, for instance, going in and going, all right, we've got Bruno, we've got Joe Linton. That attacking midfielder that we need, we'll go and get Madison. Then you'll have Bruno Guimaraes sitting in that CDM, Joe Linton, and then you have Madison, who's behind Callum Wilson or Isaac's they called the next Ibrahimovic. You know, they do play Almiron and they do play Murphy at the moment on the wings, but what's stopping them from going and getting a winger and a Madison, and then maybe getting one more player, and instantly the team's going to be 100% better, top six. They'll be top six. The way they're playing
you could almost put Madison into any top 6 team, and that team improves.
I think he's better than Bruno and Ericsson. I think he's better than them. The only team he wouldn't improve would be City. That's it. Yeah. He'd improve Liverpool.
Like, City could almost buy him and just sit him on the bench.
Well, that's the thing. They
need him for Champions League games and Cup games.
You could even play him instead of playing, because they've got Haaland, right? Instead of playing because they're struggling to fit all their players in, like even De Bruyne is struggling to get in there because of the way they're playing with the wingers, and they got to have. You could have Rodri, Calvin Phillips, and then Madison are behind. And if you want to go more attacking, you take Rodri and Calvin Phillips off and have De Bruyne in there. Like, they could do it. But if he goes to Arsenal, he's better than Odegaard. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
He's way better than Odegaard. He's better than Smith Rowe.
You know, so he gets into the Arsenal's team. He gets into our team. He's better than all our midfielders in the creative department.
Yeah.
Go to Chelsea. Who have they got? What, Mount? He's better than fucking Mount. Like, by far. I think he's way better. Better than Kai Havertz plays as a striker. He's better in that cam role. He'd walk into Chelsea's team, walk into United's team. I think he's better than Bruno.
Yep.
And then the only other top four is Liverpool. And if you had Thiago, Fabinho, and then Madison behind fucking Nunes, Diaz, and Salah or Jota, they're fucking killing teams. So 100%. I think Madison is the one player, and he can play that CM role or that attacking mid role. So he plays in that mid with Tielemans and Diddy. He plays in midfield 3.
Yep.
So why can't we do that?
100%.
And can you imagine Kane having that
service? Look what Kane was doing when Ericsson was there.
Oh, he never dropped back because he didn't need to, and there's a thing that I've watched a lot of Spurs and listened to a lot of Spurs podcasts the past couple of days, and there is a talk about why Kane and Son was so good for Jose. It was because they never defended. Jose said, "I don't want you to defend. You stay up top. We'll deal with it. Yep. As soon as we get that ball, it's going to you guys and you create." And all they did was sit up top. Now you see Kane's dropping a lot, so Son's always by himself, but we're never playing the ball behind for Son. Never playing the ball behind. He's always having it to feet.
Yeah. How many fucking goals did Son and previously Ali score when Kane dropped on a counter attack into midfield and just ping it over the top?
Yeah, we're not playing to Son's strengths, and unfortunately, Son's proven that he's not very good unless he's going in behind. But for me, it's like, okay, same with Haaland. Haaland can't do anything outside the box, literally nothing. But as soon as he's in that box, he's the best in the world, hands down.
But that's what you want. I said it before in the preview to the City game that I'm getting called off. That's what you want in your striker.
Yeah.
You want that cunt on that fucking penalty spot, being like, anything that comes your way, put it in the back of the net. And that's literally what he's doing. That's what I want fucking Kane doing. I don't want Kane dropping into center mid, center defensive mid. I want Kane on that penalty spot, be like, anything that comes your way, you're hitting it in the back of the net. Simple as that. That's your whole fucking job as a striker. It's to score goals, right? I don't want you. Yeah, you might be one of the best passers in the league right now, but you're not playing that role. And especially for this team, you're not playing that role.
Because if you do,
you're leaving Son to get his ball at his feet, who hasn't got a first touch this year, and Richarlison, who has played a lot of league, but it isn't proven in our team yet.
Yeah, no,
it's fucking strange.
Yeah,
it's strange the way Conte wants to play. It doesn't suit our players right now.
But that's the thing. He's come out and said that he wants Kane on the end of the balls. It's like, okay, well then why don't we get someone to put the ball in for him? We don't put crosses in. We don't put any balls in. And against what team was it? It might have even been Brighton. He never got any ball in the box. Yeah. I was like, Kane would have beat these two. Kane's way better than these two defenders in the box.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I really would like to see Spence and Cess on the wings. It's not going to happen. Probably Cess, but not Spence, purely because I feel like the way Newcastle play, there's no point putting the ball in the box. You're better off trying to put the ball behind and having, especially playing with the five, you have those two just bombing on and going, get in behind. Kane drops, and then Son just gets into the box with the ball coming across the ground, like he did against what team? Chelsea, when I think Cess put it across for Son to not Son to score. Cess has done it before, but that's for me. I'd play speed. They're not very fast, and on the counter, if we're playing counter, like counter, usually you need pace, right? So Perisic, he didn't play too well. He got up and down the wing against United, but he didn't play too well. His balls in the box weren't that good, and yeah, but I think I'm going to go with my prediction. I think we're going to win 2-0. Even though I think I'm worried, we're at home. We're undefeated at home. We play well at home. The crowds should help us. But I want to say our crowd needs to pick up their game, because the last home game was absolutely fucking shite. You could barely hear the crowd until we scored. And I was even commenting it on the live stream. It was pretty piss poor from the home crowd. So I'm going to go for 2-0. I think Son's going to score this game. He's looked lively. It's just I think United just were over us, so everyone looks shit. I don't know who else is going to score the other goal, but I'm going for 2-0.
Put a name to it. Who's going to score the other goal?
I'll go Kane because it's just easy to say Kane.
Else, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Højbjerg if he's playing that fucking box to box, but apart from that, Kane and Son, generic.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what game you play. Yeah, Son and Kane will score.
Yeah, fuck. Son hasn't scored, so probably wrong there. But
I think we're going to concede here. I think it's going to be a 2-1.
I mean, that's fair.
It just seems like the kind of game where we're already up 2-0 and they just score late, and then we're no for the last 15 like we were against Fulham.
Yeah.
I can't even put scorers on, right? Like,
put a name to it, bro. Put a name to
it. It's just like, okay, I'll just pick Son and Kane. Like, who the fuck else is going to score those goals, right? So Kane double. Fuck Son. Kane's going to score a double.
I think this is the game. This is the one game where if we play behind, like we get the ball in behind, Son will score, because their three are slow as fuck. Trippier, like out of their back four, Trippier's the only one that has a bit of pace. But if he's having to handle Perisic or Sessegnon, I feel like all we do is just have Kane play that camera. Even if we're playing free in the middle, you just have Kane drop in and just tell Højbjerg or whoever plays in the mid just to bomb on and have Kane feed Son behind the line. I think that's the best way to do it. It's the only way to do it at the moment. We don't have much else going forward.
I know we talked a lot about mine, but would you have 3 in the midfield, or would you have 2 in the midfield?
I'd have 2. Actually, no, I'd have 3 because I think Mora looked okay when he came on. I feel like he had the most energy. I'd play him centrally. If we're going to go 2, if you get even if it means dropping Kane or Son, I'd go to Kane and Son still. I'd go Basuma, Skip, and Højbjerg. I'd keep Basuma in there.
And Sanchez over Romero?
Yeah, I think Romero needs a bit of a wake-up call after that game. I feel like he... I know we're going to wrap this up in a minute, but I just wanted a quick... do you think that Conte is telling our players not to express themselves now? However, Redknapp was very, very open about he wants his players to go out there and express themselves. Do you feel like Conte is kind of making this team too rigid, where they have to stick to the game plan and that's it? They can't falter from it. And like with Jose, he was kind of more like everyone else, stick to your plan. Son and Kane, you do whatever you got to do to score, and that's why they were banging in goals. Do you feel like we need, everyone's now going, all right, we have to stick to our positions, we can't go out of it, and because the system won't allow it, and that's why we look so dross when we're not fucking creating anything?
Oh, it makes sense, right? Logically thinking, because Conte, everyone knows Conte's that coach where if you don't do exactly what he says, you get dropped. Right? So it makes sense where it's hard to say, because why was Højbjerg up so far when we're up 1-0 the other day against Everton? Am I retarded?
Yeah, Everton, yeah.
Yeah, like why was he up that far in like the 89th minute? Like so it's hard to say he's only saying to sit back and everyone's sticking to their game plans.
Yeah,
But then in saying that, if Holberg missed that and the keeper got it and then pinged it downfield, he would have been out of position and been like, okay, well, we didn't stick to your game plan. So it feels like he might be being like, this is your game plan. I don't give a fuck how you guys want to play. This is how we're playing. So that's why it's so rigid. And when we're not playing well, it just looks like people don't have their own minds to. Oh well, maybe this should work. Like the whole Anthony thing, he only pulls it back on his right foot and hits it with his left, right?
yeah.
Like it feels like I agree with what you're saying because
It looks like
our teams is not thinking for themselves. It's just like this is our game plan. We're sticking to it, and we can't deviate from that no matter what because we're just gonna get the shit. You know when you have that fucking rough teacher at school, and you kind of just are good because you don't want to get on their bad side. It feels like that's what's happening with Conte. We're just like, I'm not gonna deviate from what he's told me to do because that's my job. And if something fucks up, it's somebody else's problem, right? Because this is my job. I've done my role, and if they score, then it's someone else's fault. I feel like that's what the whole team's doing right now. So I totally agree that it is too rigid and it's not free flowing enough when we have the players that are very free flowy, which is strange.
I just want to see a bit more technical ability going forward. Kane's touch has been shocking this year. So has Son's. Like everyone's touch was shocking against United. I lost it so many times, and the amount of misplaced passes or the touches were horrible. But all I want us to see is to bounce back. If we win and we're playing shit, everyone's going to say, you know what, doesn't matter, we still won. I don't want to.
Just a quick one. Nottingham Forest up 1-0 against Liverpool.
Yeah, I was actually watching that before. They've had, you know how much possession they've had? 25%.
Fucking hell.
They've had 2 less shots than Liverpool, and they've had more on target. That's why they're up. They've just been clinical. Crazy. And it's at Nottingham Forest, and it's going to be a tough place to go because we go there for the fucking League Cup too.
Yeah, we do actually go there.
Because we already played them there. We, I think we beat them. We beat them 2-0, I'm pretty sure. But I think 3 in the middle. I just hope that the transition's better and that everyone puts their heads on. But I would like to see a bit of rotation. We're going with too many players playing every game. I also think that's part of the reason. And Conte doesn't trust the rest of the team, but he's going to have to because eventually we're going to drop down the table. He's overplaying his players. Kane hasn't had a break. Højbjerg and Bentancur haven't had a break. Dye hasn't had a break. Whenever Romero fit, he plays. Whenever Davies and Langley have kind of rotated. Perisic has kind of rotated with Cess. So I feel like it's that midfield and the spine hasn't had the proper break.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like I've said it before in the previews and the reviews. If not now, when? Because we get to January and we're going to be like, oh, okay, we need these points to stick with the top couple. And then we get towards the end of the year and it's like, oh, fuck, we need our best players to play. So, like, if you're not rotating them now, when?
Well, that's the thing. Højbjerg and Bentancur both going to the World Cup and they'll both start for their teams. Bentancur for Uruguay, Højbjerg for Denmark. Kane's going to be starting for England. Son's going to be starting for fucking South Korea. Perisic is going to be starting for fucking Croatia. Dyer might start for England depending on how they play. Romero will start for Argentina. Yeah. I don't know if Wales are going. Are Wales going? Let me have a quick look. Yeah, Wales. So Davies will be starting for Wales. Lloris will be starting for. So this is the perfect time to have these. It's a big game. We have to win. I feel like it's a must-win game because if we don't get back on that winning streak, because we've got after this we've got. Lisbon, obviously midweek. Then we've got Bournemouth away next weekend. Marseille midweek. Then we finish. Then we got Liverpool at home, and then we got obviously the League Cup, and then we got Leeds at home, and then that's it. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 games, 2 champs, 1 league, and 4 Prem games. So these next 4 Prem games we have to get. I'm looking at 10 points. Draw Liverpool, win every other game. Because we go to the World Cup and then we have to come back, and God knows what's going to happen.
Well, the only thing it's not even about the other games, but if we lose to Newcastle, they're within 2 points of us.
Yep,
that's another team that's fighting for a top 4 spot.
Yep, and then if we lose that with a game in hand and Chelsea United even draw, they'll still have a game in hand. And if they draw and either of them, if they both win both their games, then United will be on points with us and Chelsea will be ahead of us by 1.
Yep.
And the thing is, we're 1 game behind Arsenal. Arsenal still have to play them a catch-up game with City.
So
let's just say they win that. They could be.
They could already be 7 points ahead of us.
Yep. And I do think they're going to fall off the rails. But I will say our top 4 and our title challenge will be determined in January. If we get good transfers, I think we can compete. If we don't, then I think we're going to fall off and fight for 4th. And I think that at the moment, the way we're playing and the way every other team below us is playing, we won't make top 4.
Right now, we're lucky to make top 6, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah. So, but anyways, we're going to end it there. If you're joining us on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you're hitting the bell buttons for notifications. And we'll be doing a live watch along 2:30 Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, 2:30 Monday morning. Obviously, it's Sunday afternoon for anyone in England. We're going to live watch along. Try and get all the boys on because it is before work for most of us, if not all of us. So but make sure you're joining us on there, sharing our content, and we'll catch you then, guys. So as we always say here at Total War Spurs, stay Spursy.